Hey everybody, this is Perch. Let's take a look at what we got here. It's a long mail, so we'll do this not driving so I don't murder myself and others. Anyway, it says, I'm at a crossroads and I need advice. Well, I'm a sucker for advice. Let's see what we got. It says, hey Perch, I've been a huge fan of yours for almost a year now, and I've loved what you're doing on your channel and with the comic book industry in general. Today I'm writing this email with a dilemma. I'm 26 years old, and I've been a huge comic book fan since I was in middle school. I was picked on in school because of my autism, and comics were my escape from all the crap I was dealing with during school. Comics have helped me overcome so much over the years, inspired me, given me so much courage. I began speaking at fundraisers and hospitals to raise funds for autism programs, even a hospital wing for autistic people like myself. I loved it so much that I was an aspiring comic book writer and wanted to work for the big two. To say I got far, it got to the point where I knew some people at Marvel and DC and made some friends in the industry. But when CG happened, I noticed some pros that I've been friends with were being jerks to people for no reason, even if they had valid criticisms of the industry. To be clear, I'm not a CG guy, but I had some concerns as well, and when I voiced my concerns to my peers in the industry and got called horrible names and was shunned by my, quote, friends. One time, one pro mocked me and my disability during a big panel at New York City Comic Con. I lost so much that even one pro who took me under his wing and was mentoring me started to be mean to me, easily saying some very bad and hurtful things to me when I tried to talk to him out of this and then dissociate. I've been through so much, and in November I had my breaking point with the comics industry and nerdom in general with the Mark Miller stuff and so many other issues. So I was going to ask a comic group I know, and I asked for advice, but I got attacked by an alleged comic creator who worked at Marvel on Discord, all because I said I was leaving for my mental health. These days, I feel like I'm a villain in my own story because I was starting to question the industry that I once loved, not necessarily on the diversity and woke stuff, but how pros just treat their fans and the quality of books is bad due to pandering. I also want to make it clear as well that I know that comics have always been political, but it's never been this bad because it's poorly written and just lazy writing. I shared this gripe with the guy on Discord that I was on, who thought that my friend, who I thought was my friend, and went on a rant essentially saying that my silence is violence and that I was racist for speaking out. I'm just frustrated these days because everything has to be political, not just in comics, but in media in general and film. So I come to you with a question as a long lead up to the question. What should I do? Should I not be a comic book fan anymore, or should I keep going? Honestly, with a bunch of people in the industry and the comic YouTube space that I had interactions with trying to smear my name, I don't know what to do anymore. I need someone who knows the situation better than I do for help. Superheroes taught me good from bad. Fuck, they shaped my moral compass into what I am today, to lead by example, better person, make a mark in the world that will make it a better place to live than when I was born. Unfortunately, now the heroes that I admire and the people creating and shaping these heroes are now dicks and acting like children. Plus, now they want to destroy the industry I once loved by getting rid of the direct market, and I'm starting to question everything. So basically, it's been one long giant email to say I'm asking for advice. Where do I go to from here? Thank you for all that you do, and if I get to see you at a con, I owe you a drink, because believe me, after I've been in comic fans, we need one. Until then, be well, stay safe. All right. So a lot there, and unfortunately, it's a really long mail for a really short answer. What do? You do what you want to do, and that sounds flippant, but we can take it in stages. First of all, as a comic fan or a reader, there are millions of comics out there. There's US comics, there's Asian comics, there's manga, there's European comics, there's new issues, there's back issues. There is enough for you to read comfortably for years and years and years. It's always good to take care of the basics first, because a lot of people, a lot of channels, and I think this is why some people get annoyed with mine, they want you to jump into the fight right away. But, just like any war, it's better to get geared up. It's better to get yourself safe and secured, keep your home intact, and then figure out what you want to go do. So if you love comics, you don't have to give them up. You don't have to stop reading them. That's silly. There's plenty of comics to read. There's plenty of things to enjoy. Find them, read them. That's simple. A lot of people, I've used this expression before, don't give away your power. That's one of the whole things about social media and how a lot of this stuff works. They bully and they harass and they irritate you. They have limited amounts of power over you. I think the old mute button, more than the block button, the mute button is relatively powerful on Twitter. and you start using that, and if you use it somewhat aggressively, you'll be surprised at how much nicer your experience is. You don't get emotional about it. And after weeks and weeks of doing this, you discover that, when somebody comes in with some kind of trash take or try to bait you into a fight, and people do that all the time, it's not even, it doesn't even raise any kind of emotional hit on you anymore. You're just like, okay, here's another one for the pile, and you move on. And, presumably they scream into the void. Now, the reason why mute in many cases is better than block is giving somebody attention. Mute, the person has no idea you've muted them. And so it just allows it to kind of drift away. Whereas block, it's giving some people some validation for their behavior. And you have to understand that a lot of people, and this includes a lot of the pros and the others that you're talking about, they're desperate for attention. It is an engagement game. It's there's a thread going on I commented on, and I was fascinated to see some of the results. And it was basically like, in 2024, if somebody's on Twitter talking about how Rian Johnson's Star Wars: The Last Jedi film is the best film ever made, that person is baiting you. It's bait. It's not real. There's no possible way it's real. It's 70 years later, and this person's coming in. They know exactly what they're going to get. This isn't somebody who just wandered onto the internet like, I think I'll make a positive post. No, they're desperate for hate clicks. They're desperate for people to attack and trash them. That is the trap. And so, I posted this, like, just stop feeding it. And I was surprised by the amount of people who came in with the, oh, if you ignore it, it won't go away, or we've been ignoring it for too long. No, there is no time duration to ignoring it. People who are just trying to stir up trouble get to be ignored forever. That's a good strategy. Now, there's a big difference between people trying to stir up trouble and people creating content that you like and then you need to fight to get better content. Totally different things. If you want to be frustrated and voice your opinion to Disney or to the people making those films, make complete sense. That's something you want to keep arguing about, keep pushing your opinion on. But kind of the rando nonsense people who are nobodies and not attached to the film and are just there to kind of raise their engagement numbers. I mean, in a sick way, all you're doing is helping them. They're trying to monetize their follower account, and that's it. So you're just giving them free marketing. That's why they do it. That's why you see so many terrible, terrible takes. I mean, have you ever wondered why you get the Batman, if he just took his wealth and devoted it to social justice programs rather than becoming a military, police kind of hero, would do a lot better. Okay, that take has been discussed 5 billion times. This isn't some new person who had this genius idea for the first time. This is somebody who looked around on Twitter, saw that this take got thousands and thousands of retweets and likes and people talking, and they're like, I want some of that attention. And that's what they do. I say so much about this as opposed to the comics because a lot of the anger and the frustration and the nonsense, and including kind of your experiences from the mail around Discord and other things, comes from those kinds of people. They're bad actors. They don't help anything. And all they do is suck the life out of you. Now, to the other part, what do you do with, comic creators or people who are in the industry who are treating people badly? Well, first, realize that those people are caught in the same trap. They are also desperate for engagement. Why do you think a comic professional, somebody who is paid to write a comic or draw a comic or whatever else, decides to wake up on a Wednesday and type, blank is a hate group? Why do you think they do that? Do you think that, it's Wednesday and they woke up in the middle of the night? I mean, my God, I haven't pointed this out to anyone. There's people who don't know. I better get to Twitter right now and post something. Of course not. If you look around, and one thing that trust me, try this for yourself, just as an experiment. Look at some kind of trash take from one of the usual suspects in comics. Okay, then go back a little bit. Just look at how their Twitter feed was in the 2 to 3 days, not long, just 2 to 3 days before they posted that trash take. Just check it out. What you'll notice is a bunch of their tweets were barely seen, largely ignored. Very few likes, very few responses, nothing. And so put your mind, or put yourself in their mind. What they're doing is they're like, oh my God, it's gotten too quiet here. I'm becoming less popular. I need to post some safe thing that's going to get a bunch of attention. And then if, it's all upside. If a bunch of people come in and trash me for it, then I will scream that I'm being attacked and harassed. If a bunch of my industry colleagues come in and go, yeah, we want engagement too, then I get the attention there. It's all very cynical. So don't feed into it. Remember, go back to your base, find some comics you like, read them. If you want to create comics, create them. Now, I've said this advice before. People come in like, well, yeah, but they're going to gatekeep you, keep you out of their companies. Yeah, they might. But as we've seen a lot over the last 5 years, if you want to create a comic, a web comic, whatever it happens to be, nobody can stop you. Now, if you want to specifically create Spider-Man, Nick Lowe is going to stop you, or various people at Marvel are going to stop you. And if your dream was to always write Spider-Man, that sucks, and continue to fight against that, by all means. But I have a hard time believing anyone who truly loves comics, wants to write comics, wants to draw comics, has their heart set on doing one character, only one character, and that's all there is. Everybody worked their way up. Everybody created some different stories, and you might wind up falling in love with yours. Kirkman has given interviews talking about how he really wanted to get and do work at Marvel. And then once he got there, he realized, no, actually what he wanted to do was his own stuff. He wanted to, his heart was in his own creations. And it worked out well for him. So figure out what you love, stick to it, ignore the bullshit and the stuff that really is designed to take your life and give it to someone else. And by the way, the nature of superhero comics is to do the right thing, even when it's tough to do the right thing. So that's the right thing. Anyway, thanks for listening.